Hi, I'm back with a completed album. I have all the pages laid out on the bed. I did that, and it helped me figure out which pages needed a little bit more embellishment, which I've added. And I did not do these pages in the order that you're seeing them. The order you're seeing them is the way they'll be placed in the album. I did them kind of in the order that interested me as I went along, and I find this helpful because in my case I have a lot of enthusiasm at the beginning of the project, and sometimes towards the end of the project you're just ready to get it finished and it may not put quite as much time in certain pages. So this way everything is kind of spread out, but at the end laying everything out on the bed allowed me to kind of see where I needed to add a little bit of touches here and there to bring the project together and to finish off some of the pages. Also, by doing them out of order, the first and the last page, which has happened to be my last two pages I did, allowed me to pull together and use papers and embellishments that I had used on the other pages to give continuity. And that's what I did here with the title page. There is an element that you're going to see repeated, some ribbon that you'll see repeated, or trim. This is a trim I bought, I think, at Walmart years ago, that's denim with the little rivets or grommets in it. And I use this stripe paper a lot, and I've repeated it here on this page along with the star paper. So this kind of sets up the album for things that you're going to see as you move along. Some pages were very much like the 12 by 12, or I tried to make them as much like the 12 by 12 as possible. This is one. On the 12 by 12 version I had this banner going all the way across, but since I didn't have room to do that here, I just did it underneath the journaling. Also on this page I did not have any wood grain paper, so I stamped some wood grain stamp on a piece of ivory cardstock and then printed the journaling over that to give me a similar effect to what I had done on my 12 by 12 page. These next two pages aren't related. We have a single page on a particular topic with the journaling in a hidden pocket, and then the start of the Biltmore pages, which are going to have somewhat different colors because it's going to be mostly the red and blue and not so much green. But I have two blues here that are very similar. These are not the same paper, but they look very similar to kind of bring things together with these pages. And this element here, again, like the first page of the album, is going to be repeated a lot through the Biltmore pages. I have some trim here that I was able to repeat just a little bit of on the next two pages. I didn't have much of it left, but this is, again, more on the Biltmore, and I didn't feel the need to do another title since I was just continuing. This page was also one where I found that I needed something once I laid it out. I originally just had this journaling on white cardstock on this blue background, and that was all. And I wished I had matted it, so instead of going back and trying to take it off or cover it up with another piece of journaling and matting, I just added the washi tape around the outside, and that was a great way to finish it off and add some more color. Again, more of that trim on the next pages. Here was a page that needed a little something when I was finished, and I added these stars. I thought I might like to use the stars. I used them back on one of the earlier pages. With everything spread out on the bed, I could decide which pages could get a few of the little stars so I wouldn't overdo it, but yet I would have them scattered out throughout the album. A page that looks nothing like what was in my 12 by 12 is this one about the little girl and her doll. I did a very girly page. I don't get to do this very often because I don't have that many photographs of little girls that I get to do. So I had fun on my 12 by 12 album doing a very girly page, a lot of pink, which was the color of the doll's dress. Here, though, that wouldn't have fit in with the rest of the album, so I chose the red and white paper instead, and I added this real delicate green trim. There's no green in her picture, but I knew there was going to be green in the corresponding page, and the little delicate trim goes with the doll and the little girl. This page is very similar to the 12 by 12, or as close as I could get, but I did have to substitute a different stamp. I had a much bigger tree stamp on my page, but I had to use a smaller stamp. I was still able to use the same title and kind of sneak my journaling in places and some color in. So it got to be a very full page, but a similar effect and a good way to tell the story. And the last few pages here, I have a double page spread. This was probably, I think, the first one I did, and I used some of the blue, but instead of doing and I used the brown background that I've used on a lot of the pages, but instead of doing the red, orange works better with these pages. So this is one that I was able to do a little bit different with some red and yellow and kind of break up the whole effect. But I still added the little people and the trim and some brads. I've used some brads throughout. This was also one where I added a few stars at the end to kind of bring it together with the other pages. Here's a 12 by 12 or a double page spread that's as close to the 12 by 12 as I could get it. I loved the circle photographs. I just cut them smaller for this version. I printed the pictures the same size, but I just cut them smaller, and it still worked. And I had to sneak my journaling in a different page. On my 12 by 12 I had my journaling down the side, but I had to put it up here on the top. And instead of doing a banner like I had done on my 12 by 12, I added little circles of color. So I got a very similar effect, and I enjoyed doing this because I had so much fun doing it the first time. I got to do really the same page again. And the last page of the album is this one where I have not used this picture before. I don't have this yet in my 12 by 12. I'll probably do a page of it eventually. And the picture is of my husband and his daughter, and they're the two people that bring all of the 6 of us together, really. It's their relationship that brings us together to have a vacation. So I thought it was a good way to end the album. The elements I used here, the trim, that circle element that I've used so much, and papers are ones that are repeated from the rest of the album. So there's my 8x8 gift album that's based a lot on our 12 by 12 pages, uses a lot of the papers that I had left from that, and mostly reds, blues, and greens on either the craft or the soft suede background. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment or hop over to my blog and comment, and I'll be happy to respond. Thanks for joining me.